And Merry Christmas, by the way. Hello again. Yeah, I'm still doing this. And as I just showed, it is Christmas. Merry Christmas. And the last time I did this was just after Thanksgiving, so it's been a month since I've done these recordings. Which means it's time for another batch recording session. First up is Iron Man 3, what I like to consider Marvel's Christmas movie. Just because majority of it takes place in Christmas. It doesn't really have anything to do with like Christmas spirit or anything, or as far as I can tell. So this was first released in 2013, or more specifically around the spring of 2013, and then that was the same year I actually found out that I had anxiety and depression. And I most recently watched Iron Man 3 on December 8th, 2018. On to the quotes and moments. "We create our own demons," said by Tony and some other famous guy, according to Tony. This next one felt kind of real when it just kind of came out. It is kind of similar to Daredevil. It's like, what happened to him? Life. I built him, I take care of him, I'll fix him. Start with something pure, something exciting, then come the mistakes, the compromises. We create our own demons. My armor was never a distraction or a hobby. It was a cocoon. And now, I'm a changed man. You can take away my house, my tricks and toys. One thing you can't take away, I am Iron Man. Tony developed anxiety and PTSD from the events of the Avengers. And I feel like that kind of really adds to his character as a flawed character. Like, you want to like him, but he has his issues. But in a way, that's kind of what makes him more human or relatable. And I guess the reason why watching it now and realizing, you know, someone as unique as Tony Stark had anxiety, and then, you know, when he had his bit of an episode with Hartley, kind of calmed him down and you know, really got him to refocus. And I really liked that scene. Before, when my anxiety was a little bit more pertinent, I guess, I just needed, like, it got hard to breathe, I couldn't focus, I couldn't concentrate, and my anxiety was like a lot from school. So, you know, I kind of wish I had something or someone to kind of, you know, realign me and just kind of take a deep breath and then get back into it. Later that year I did. You know, I was working with a counselor, a therapist, to develop coping mechanisms. I just kind of wish I knew about it sooner. Now, the thing I like about when Tony talks about, you know, he's talking about his suit when he says, life. I built him, I take care of him, I'll fix him. He has that whole spiel at the end about his armor wasn't a hobby or distraction, it was a cocoon. And he concludes it with saying, I am Iron Man, similar to the first movie. So with Iron Man 3 being the first to complete a trilogy in the MCU, it kind of laid the groundwork for future trilogy endings. For instance, Tony lost his arc reactor, Thor lost his hammer, Captain America loses his shield, and that's kind of it in terms of trilogies so far. Unless you want to count Infinity War, but I kind of want to wait for Endgame to really make that call. And with that being the first, it really calls into mind, you know, a sense of identity, figuring out who you are, and, you know, what you stand for. I think I mentioned in previous videos before, I'm still trying to figure that out, especially as an unemployed, single, millennial individual. I'm still trying to figure out what career choice fits me. As you know, I'm still debating whether or not engineering was the right career choice for me, and I'm trying to figure out, I was so stuck on engineering, because, you know, school life took over, and I always thought this is my future, and I just stuck with it. But I grew, I changed, much like Tony, and I don't know what it is anymore. So I'm trying to figure, who am I without engineering first? Because I think once I figure that out, then I can kind of figure out what my career choice might be. Will I be able to be a person who can just have a job and then, yeah, I can live with that job, but then I can use what I make or what I do with that job and use it to fund my hobbies and then do something from there? Or am I just going to jump straight into something else because I find out that engineering just wasn't for me anymore and there's something else that I like? I guess going back to when Tony says start with something pure, something exciting, and then come the mistakes, the compromises, and we create our own demons. That is kind of how you can describe when I first started out in engineering. It was dumbass, or I don't want to say dumbass, naive, naive, wide-eyed kid who kind of grew up in a bubble, like entering college, and he kind of figured that engineering was something that he always wanted to do. I kind of figured out at the time. I realized that I wanted to discover engineering somewhere in the middle of my high school career, and for some reason I just stuck with it. I never really thought about other possibilities. I just kind of stuck with it and tried to run with it, albeit rather slowly and clunkily. I don't know if that's a word, clunkily, in a rather clunky fashion. So start something pure, and then mistakes, bad grades, failing health, poor mental health, got put on AP twice, compromises. I made it. I graduated, barely. Kind of took a job. I wasn't. It was great at first, but then it kind of wasn't the same after. I didn't really give myself a chance to explore. I'm not saying it's too late now. It feels like it, but maybe I should have tried it. Now I'm kind of paying for it almost.